In this video we'll go over how to set up and operate the Casio WS-1700H. We'll go from the basics such as setting up the time and date to setting up and operating the tide and moon graph functions. And if you want to skip to a particular section, timestamps are given in the description. I'd like to start off by saying that this is not a review of the watch. If you want to hear my thoughts and opinions on it, then check out this video. First we're going to learn how to turn on and off the button beep. This can be done from the home time screen. To get to that screen, press the bottom left button until you hear the highest pitched beep. Once on that screen, hold down the bottom left button for 3 seconds until you see this symbol appear, which indicates that the button beep has been disabled. And now the button beeps are gone, but if you want to re-enable again, carry out the same process until the beep disable button is no longer on the screen. To set the time and date and backlight duration, hold down the top left button when you're on the home time screen and the seconds will start flashing. Pressing the bottom right button will set the seconds back to 0. Note that if you set the seconds to 0, after 30 seconds is showing on the watch, it will also increase the minutes by 1 minute. On the screen you can also set the duration that the backlight stays on for. The single dash shown here means that the backlight will stay on for 1 second when activated. Press the top right button to change it to 3 seconds, which is represented by 3 dashes. I'm going to leave mine set to 3 seconds. Next, press the bottom left button to set the daylight saving time indicator. At the time of recording, daylight saving time is being used where I live, so I'm going to leave mine set to on. Use the bottom right button to turn it off if needed. Pressing the bottom left button again will let you set the hours. Use the top right button to decrease the hours and the bottom right button to increase the hours. Next, press the bottom left button to set the minutes. Just like the process for setting the hours, the top right button decreases the minutes and use the bottom right button to increase the minutes. Next, set the year by pressing the bottom left button. Use the buttons on the right side to increase or decrease the year. Press the bottom left button to set the date. Unfortunately, the date is only available in the American month date format, so use the buttons on the right side to firstly set the month. Then use the bottom left button to lastly set the day of month. There's no need to set the day of week, as the watch will calculate that for you based upon the date that you entered. So press the top left button to escape. We set the backlight duration to 3 seconds earlier, and this can be activated by pressing the top right button. To set up the watch for the moon and tide graph for your specific location, you will have to enter 3 pieces of information. And these are the UTC differential, longitude value, and the lunar tidal interval. These values are given in the back of the manual for some tidal ports, but the one I wanted, or even the country where I live, was not in there. I had to obtain these values for myself, and if you want to know how I did that, I've created a separate video, because I didn't want this one getting too long. And these are the values which I'll enter for my chosen location. We'll now enter these values into the watch, starting with a UTC differential, and to do that, press the top left button 2 times. Use the buttons on the right to increase or decrease the values. Press the bottom left button to select the longitude value. And use the buttons on the right to change. Press the bottom left button again to enter the direction, which in my case is west. Use the right hand side buttons to toggle between east and west. Lastly, press the bottom left button to enter the lunar tidal interval. Start by entering the hours and then enter the minutes. Press the top left button to escape, and now you're all set. To use the tide and moon graph functions, press the mode button from the home screen. The watch will enter either into the tide or moon graph mode depending on what is shown on the indicator, which in this case is the tide graph mode. Here the watch is showing that there is a falling tide on the 11th of April at 6 o'clock in the morning. You can use the bottom right button to increase the hours and view the various tides throughout the day. And here the watch is predicting that there will be a high tide at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. To move it over to the moon graph mode, press the top left button and you will see the indicator change to moon. Press the bottom right button to increase the days so that you can see the predicted moon phases throughout the month. And here it's showing that there will be a full moon on the 24th of April. Move the watch back into tide graph mode and the watch will show the tides from the future date that you selected from the moon graph mode. To escape back over to the home time screen, press the bottom left button a few times until you hear the highest pitched beep. To use the stopwatch, press the bottom left button 2 times from the home screen. Press the bottom right button to start the stopwatch at the beginning of the event, and again the bottom right button to stop it at the end of the event. Here the stopwatch has recorded a duration of 2.94 seconds for the event. Press the top left button to reset it back to 0. The stopwatch also has a split timer function to record first and second place. To use that function, start the stopwatch as usual by pressing the bottom right button. When the first entrant has finished the race, press the top left button and the time of the winner will be shown, while the stopwatch continues counting in the background. Then when the second entrant has crossed the line, press the bottom right button to stop the stopwatch. Press the top left button and the time for second place is shown. Press the top left button again to reset the stopwatch. A nice feature for the stopwatch in this model is that it has a maximum counting duration of 24 hours. To activate the countdown timer, press the bottom left button 3 times from the home screen. The countdown timer can be set to count down from a maximum duration of 24 hours and the minimum duration is 1 minute. When the timer reaches 0, a notification will sound with an audible alarm. A nice feature for the countdown timer is that it still shows your home time when you're in this mode. To set the timer, press the top left button. First set the hours if required with the buttons on the right. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm only going to set the minutes, so press the bottom left button to move along to that. Using the bottom right button, I'm going to set it to 1 minute. Next, press the bottom left button to set the auto repeat function. If this is turned on, the watch will count down to 0 and will repeat an indefinite number of times until you turn it off. I'm going to leave the auto repeat to off. Next, press the top left button to escape. The countdown timer is started with the bottom right button. Use the same button to interrupt it and the top left button to reset it when required. To get to the alarm mode, press the bottom left button 4 times from the home screen. The watch has 3 alarms built in. To select between them, use the bottom right button. Alarm number 1 comes with the snooze feature. If you want to turn the hourly signal on or off, choose alarm number 0, which is this one. To toggle the hourly signal on or off, use the top left button. Now we're going to set the alarm, and for that I'm going to choose alarm number 1. Hold down the top left button to set the hour, and use the buttons on the right to change it. Next, press the bottom left button to set the minutes and use the buttons on the right side to change it. Press the bottom left button again and the watch will ask you to enter the date on which you want the alarm to activate. If you leave this unset, the alarm will sound every day at the time which you set. If you set the alarm only, the alarm will only activate during that month. And if you set the day only, the alarm will only activate on that day for each month. I'm not going to set the date for the alarm, so press the top left button to escape. You can also turn on the snooze feature with the top left button. If this is activated, the alarm will sound again up to 7 times in 5-minute intervals until you turn it off. Finally, you can also test the alarm sound by holding down the bottom right button. To get to dual time, press the bottom left button 5 times from the home screen. In dual time mode, the time in a second time zone is shown here, while your local time back home is shown here. To set dual time, hold down the top left button. If that second time zone uses daylight saving time, you can set it to on with the bottom right button. Next, press the bottom left button to set the hours, and this can be adjusted with the buttons on the right. I'm sure that most of you will be familiar with the bug where you can only set it to AM and it doesn't change to PM. Even in 24-hour mode, it doesn't go beyond 12. Hopefully Casio will fix this in the later release of the watch. Press the bottom left button again to set the minutes. And this is adjusted with the buttons on the right. When done, press the top left button to escape. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope that this video has helped you out at least a little bit. If you have any questions, drop me a comment, and I'll catch you next time.